Singaporeans around, right? But somehow, deep in your gut, what it's telling you is that it's always easy to invest, but when it comes to selling them, perhaps that's not as straightforward. And probably that's the gap that is preventing many other people from taking action as well. So if this statement resonate very well with you, then today's masterclass would definitely give you the applicable tools and insights to help you navigate through all the sales pitch and noises out there to make your next best move. And now I want to just take a moment here to really, really acknowledge and applaud all of you for investing your time with me here this evening. So you can be in anywhere else, but the fact that you're here investing for your future, I just want to be here, personally acknowledge you for that, all right? So as mentioned in all my master classes previously, if you've attended before, I want you to approach this webinar with an open mind. Because first thing, the FOMO effect is really happening right now in the market. And secondly, what I'm going to share with you will not just debunk some of the misconception and judgment some of you may have, but also to inspire and transform the way that you think and to help you make better real estate investment decision today. So at the end of this masterclass, I aim to deliver these three key benefits to you. So over to the screen, let me share with you the three key benefits we aim to deliver to you today. So first thing is the quarter four opportunity window. Yes, we are in quarter four right now. Understanding why the Draft Master Plan 2025 is a catalyst that helped many investors make millions in the past and how we can do it today for you. Number two, timing your investment with a multiple exit strategy. You heard it right. It's not a single, but multiple. And you discover how to match your investment horizon with your personal and financial goals. And last but not least, real world case study. And you definitely want to learn from someone that walks the talk, right? So learn how to apply this proven framework for my personal real estate journey through different life stages because we do not just want to serve the property, we also want the property to serve our needs too, given different stages and seasons of our life. All right. So that's it. Now, before I begin, I noticed that many of you are here probably seeing me for the first time. So would it be okay if I get your permission to share a quick backstory about myself on what kind of credential or even the proven track record that I have to share what you can learn from me today? So if that's okay, just reply okay inside the chat box. So I know that you also want to know a bit about your speaker today, and of course, what do I have that could value add you? Awesome, Jocelyn, Alex, Krishnam, Nelson, and also Candy for a reply as well, and Andres too. Okay, thank you so much. So to share a bit about myself, I need to go back about 15 years ago. All right, in fact, close to 16. So this was me, back then, 2010, just graduated from serving the national service. I was in the school of the commandos. All right. While I was in the commandos, I was able to learn a very, very powerful skill set. And that skill set is called grit, GRIT, because it allows me to stay resilient, especially in a property market where there are always cooling measures every now and then, right? So I could be very, very resilient. And something I take away from the commando 16 years ago. And after that, I joined the real estate industry. And back then, it was a very labor intensive industry. We got to do road shows. We got to dress up like how the developer wants us to dress up. And that's us dressing like a gym instructor at this show flat called Park Olympia, all the way in Floral Drive, Eastern Singapore. And within a short period of 3 years, I was able to achieve the overall top achiever from 2012 to 2013 financial year. And I was featured on the Straits Times as well. So this is where I earned my first pot of gold. So unlike most of the realtors out there who buy shiny items, I realized I need to walk the talk. So what did I do? I actually went to take my first pot of gold and then invested in my first property back in 2014. So at the age of 28 years old, just married with my wife, we bought into this property called Coco Palms, and that's us, at the background of Coco Palms, just TOP collecting our keys. So Coco Palm is also being featured at Straits Times as the top performing development over a period of 2014 to 2018. not the second, not the third, but the number one performing properties, all right? And that's a 32% gain. So this is not done by chance or luck. This is done by intentional framework that I'll be sharing with you in this 90 minutes masterclass today, all right? And from 2014 to 2018, after achieving my milestone in life, I was promoted to different roles I play in the organization as well. That's where I train agents in the sales gallery settings, also in the classroom settings as well. I'm a sought after so-called trainer. So whenever I train, is always, full house, as you can see here, right? And not just that, I'm also invited as a keynote speaker at numerous consumer seminars on the ground as well. So this was my time 7 years ago until 2018. But I realized that whenever this kind of settings was done by way of consumer seminar, I realized that I have to speak and do the talk based on the vested interest of the sales gallery that the developer wants me to talk, which also means that I'm actually doing a very, very I would say, sales pitch towards the developer needs and not the consumer needs, even though it's called the consumer seminar. So in 2019, I decided to do an introspection, and that's where I flew all the way to Florida to meet this guy called Tony Robbins. Attended this seminar called Date with Destiny. It's a 6 days, 5 night event. And I really, really got to ask myself very, very important question, which I'll share with you later on. I don't want to bore you with that, all right? But this allowed me to then pivoted my business during 2020 when COVID hit. When everyone is staying at home, I created this framework called urban transformation to help investors gain the unfair advantage in any market condition. So that's what the framework was being born in 2020. But I've been practicing on myself since 2014. And then in 2021, I applied the exit strategy that I have actually intended since the day I bought in 2014, 7 years ago. So once we exited, we then move on to our next property, and that's where we move into a landed property in Novena. And that's me, my beautiful wife, and our two boys that gets into the reputable school within 1 km, right? So I don't say this to brag, but I'm saying this to show that you too can do it for yourself if you have planned your entire real estate property journey intentionally. And for me, this was planned as early as 2013 before I bought in 2014, right? So that's it. At the end of today's masterclass overview, this is what you are going to learn. All right. So first thing first, you're going to learn the seasons of change. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about real estate investment, you want your money work harder for you. So what's worth more today based on the segment of entry? It could be new homes, it could be resale, it could be sub-sale property, but what's working harder for your money? Secondly, how to win right now using the 2025 draft master plan. And the third topic here is how to game the system, because at the end of the day, we want to win and, of course, able to forecast what's coming, to anticipate, and then to ride the wave even before everyone else does. And that's how an investor think and act. All right. And we're going to learn the skill set today. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to kick off today's main topic. First topic, all right. So, oh, sorry, I don't know why this is repeating. Right. Okay. So today's main topic will be pricing still rising. Okay, which is chapter number 1. Okay. So if you look at the quarter 3 information that we just got from the last quarter, there was a rise in 1.2%, and the total volume, in fact, actually rose 29%. So what you're hearing in the market right now is not just the price didn't raise that much, it's actually the volume or the pent-up demand is really rising. That's why most of the buyers out there are being left with lousy balloting, queue numbers, and they end up with other launches. So that was the volume rise, but price is actually still pretty stable. So if you look at the overall rise in Q3 2025, it was equivalent to the second quarter 2025 as well. So this is a very important chart here that I want to share with you. And if you could see, these are measuring Singaporeans from quarter 4 2024 last year and quarter 3 2025 this year. And these are all Singaporeans. And we are measuring the buying power of Singaporeans based on these two timestamps. So the very first one we'll look at is those who can afford 1.5 million purchase price. As of fourth quarter 2024, more buyers can afford a $1.5 million. And in third quarter 2025, not as much buyers are buying within that quantum. And we move forward to the next price point of 1.5 to $2 million. More Singaporeans are actually buying in the last quarter. and we move on to the 2 to 2.5 million budget or quantum, we see that the fourth quarter 2024, we have more buyers buying under that capacity. But when we move on to the 2.5 to a $5 million quantum, we realize that, hey, more buyers are able to afford this kind of buying quantum in the last quarter. And the last two segments are pretty much similar because we are talking about probably the top 1 to 2% of the, Singapore population. And this is 5 to 10 million dollar buying quantum and even 10 million and above. So in quarter three, 2025, by and large, most buyers are moving towards the 1.5 to $2 million budget or even the 2.5 to $5 million buying power. So why am I sharing this with you? Because most of the investors or buyers that I work with, they will tell me, KS, buy 3 million, can sell or not, can make money or not. Because today's PSF are easily closing up to 3,000, right? Okay. And a 3 bedroom apartment is easily around 1,000 square feet. That will work out to be $3 million, right? So we need to know like, hey, are people buying at that kind of buying price so that in the future when we sell, we could then see buyer that could afford our sale price, right? Okay. So how many of you are getting clarity so far? If that's you, just like see inside the chat. So you know that, hey, today based on your buy price, what are you able or who are you able to sell to? So if that's you, just like see inside the chat, all right? So I know that you are getting something so far. Right. I saw Alex, this is for honor and glory. Awesome. Right. All right, thank you so much for your reply, Alex, Diana, we, and Candy, and Nelson too, and Krishnan. All right, and with this, I want to share with you that there's something that we need to know just happened not too long ago. In fact, just about 4 or 5 months ago. And if you do not know what's that, just to share, it's the cooling measure. So the seller stamp duty holding period is extended from 3 years right now to 4 years. That means there's a 1 year extension. And this was announced on the 4th of July, 2025. All right. So what is this for? This is to calibrate the market because just about 9 days before this cooling measure, the government announced this thing called the Draft Master Plan, 25th June 2025. And whenever a master plan is announced by the government every 5 years, the market get excited, especially the developer. And what they do, they will then bid land or land bidding aggressively because this will then translate to consumer buy price in the future because the developer buy so expensive, they sell it higher, so to speak. So in order to calibrate the market, the government then introduce a cooling measures to then soften the sentiment. All right. So this is not something new. Why? Because they're just redeploying the same strategy when they announced the previous master plan back in 2019. So the last master plan was announced in 27th of March 2019 by then Minister Lawrence Wong, the MND back then. And the government introduced a cooling measures 4 months later in July 2019. In fact, they increased the additional buyer stamp duty rates and also tightening of the loan to value limit. So what I want to share with you here is that as investors, we need to understand this thing called the power of patterns. So what is the power of patterns? Power pattern means that first we need to recognize there's a pattern. Okay, secondly, we need to utilize them. And right now we are trying to utilize them. So we are not afraid of any cooling measures that comes because we know what government are trying to do, the silver lining behind their action. All right. And last but not least is, of course, how to create your own patterns. And that's what we are, or at least what I'm sharing with you today, because I created a framework and that's what you're going to learn. All right. So with this, how many of you are feeling more confident? If that's you, just like again, see inside the chat. So I know that you know you're confident and you're not just being caught by the hype or even fear of missing out that's happening in the marketplace. All right. So Alex says so, Nelson feels so as well. Awesome. Okay, my job here is to give you the power pattern. What is the pattern? Krishnam say, well, the pattern here is whenever a master plan announcement happens, the government introduce cooling measures to taper down the sentiment so that land bidding by developer will not be done aggressively and that will not translate to higher inflated sale price by consumer or investor. I hope that answers your question so far, Krishna. All right. Okay. Next, we then move on to what the experts say in this year. They say that actually new homes are going to rise only 3 to 5% year on year. And they say that actually that for resale, is going to drive harder at 6 to 8% per annum. So my job here is always to question what the experts say. Is it true? Do we want to take it just by the pinch of salt, or we just gonna really, just take it and then believe it, right? So my job here is to understand the market. So I'm going to share with you here, learning from the past. These are on the left axis, these are PSF. At the bottom axis are a decade of, timeline that we are working with. So in this instance, the light blue is the new home sales buying directly from the developer. Orange is resale market, and green is the sub-sale market, which means buying from someone else that sold within 1 year of TOP and before. That's what it means. So that's it. If you look at the very first window that we have marked out here, is within 2016 to 2019. If you look at the price growth of different property segments here of entry, the new homes make about 20.2%. If you bought the new homes from the developer in 2016, you hold until 2019, you make about 20.2%. For sub-sale, you make about 10.2. And for resale, you actually make surprisingly higher than new homes, which is pretty rare. And when it comes to 2019, something happened. The government announced this thing called the Draft Master Plan 2019. And because of the Master Plan announcement, we saw that from 2021 to 2024, after the COVID period, property prices for new homes went up 40%. Sub-sale went up 25.6, whereas resale actually dropped by 2%. And why is this so? Again, you learned just now, based on the master plan announcement, government introduced cooling measures because developer, which is institutional purchasers, buying at volume and based on big site. And that's it. The leading indicator of this price movement as a catalyst based on the draft master plan will start to take place in volume. So one thing I want you to jot it down if you could, or if you would, is this thing called transaction volume equals price appreciation. You need volume to drive price upwards, because if a development has little transaction, there will be not much of new price point being caveated. And what happened is that if it's a small boutique development, you will end up with probably transaction of the past would be even 3-4 years ago. And then when buyers wants to buy from you, for example, especially this happens for a lot for freehold properties, just to share with you, that's where most of the owners were trying to ask today's new homes prices based on the fact that they are freehold, the new homes are double nine, and they try to match their price because they justify themselves as freehold. But then when the buyer wants to buy a property, what do they do? Guys, what do? They actually goes to the bank and ask for bank valuation. And how does bank value a property? Based on the recent transaction. And that's where there's a mismatch between the buyer's price and also the seller's asking price, because the buyer follows the bank valuation. If they can't match the bank value, they got to top up the difference, and no buyer is going to do that, right? All right, unless it's a very emotional purchase, which we rarely see so. So that's it. That is where the last transaction, or rather the transaction volume equals price appreciation, shows why this drive as a catalyst to help your property appreciate. So how many of you felt that this principle I just shared with you so far is valuable? If that's you, just type V inside the chat. I can see B is typing to everyone. Transaction volume equals price appreciation. Awesome. Thank you for, explaining or writing it down for the rest. Okay, if you think it's valuable, just type V inside the chat. Not B, by the way, it's V. Probably I need to drink some water so you can hear my dictation better. Right, thank you so much. All right, so it's V. Everybody replies V. Thank you. All right, and this is very important because that's what helps you to make better decision. All right. So for context, back in fourth quarter 2022, new homes prices were 80% more expensive than resale, which means that the gap between new homes and resale were 80%. So what it means is that back then, new homes was overpriced, so to speak. Okay, so if you do not know the rule of thumb is that new homes and resale typically pre-COVID is about 30% gap to make it a fair value. All right. But after COVID, the gap has changed. We're going to share with you later. All right. And of course, fourth quarter 2023, 1 year later, it's about 60% in gap difference, which means resale caught up by 20%. But the new homes did not rise in 2023. That's why the gap was narrowed. The answer is no. Right? Okay. So how so? It's like 20%. Because if you remember in 2023, there was blockbuster launch that happens, such as the reserve residences in the Beauty World Upper Bukit Timah. It was sold at 2007 PSF, but yet in Q4 2023, resale actually caught up by 20%. All right. So what it means is that resale was a property that was working harder in terms of appreciation compared to new homes back then. And of course, in Q4 2024, the gap was only 40%. And that's where the new homes prices starts, moving again. All right. So to give you some context, after COVID, new homes and resale is no longer a gap of 30% based on the last normed pre-COVID. After the COVID situation, because of financing costs are higher, labor costs and material costs are higher, it becomes 40%. That's why Q4 2024, if you had entered 1 year ago, you would have actually enjoyed quite a bit of appreciation today. And second thing is there was a pre and post harmonization law that was introduced where aircon ledge that used to be something that's free, right now is calculated in, which also means we got to add on another 7% into the entire price differences here. So it's not 40%. The fair value here is 47% compared to pre-COVID at 30%. So how many of you are getting what I'm saying so far? If you are not confused, you are basically, confused and clear. Both starts with C. Very hard. Okay. So if you are good, just type G inside the chat so I know that you understand what I'm talking about here. All right. Because I don't want to just give you the fish. I want to pass you the rod to teach you how to fish. Because if I were to just tell you, you rely a lot on me, you probably can't make good decision, right? So what I want you to do here is to at least allow you to see the things the way I see, so that at least you can make a very clear and good decision. Awesome. We have Alex, Nelson, and Krishnan. Thank you so much for your reply. So in today's context, it is 40%, 47%. All right. So that's the right time to enter the market right now. But of course, you enter 1 year ago is even better. You were at 7%, having that potential upside already entering the market, so to speak. So to illustrate 2022 price gap where new homes were heavily overpriced comparing to a resale, I want to bring you back to 2022. These two developments in the same district. One is called Heron Bay, a resale property in Sengkang, and the other one is called Sengkang Grand, a new launch. So this was Heron Bay was launched in 2012, TOP in 2015. Sengkang Grand was launched in 2020, and the subsale happens along 2022, 2023. All right. So in this instance, what we are comparing is the entering of a property in Q1 2022. All right. So over here, we see the new and resale was a 74% price difference in terms of entry. The resale property was at $1,039 per square foot. The one that's buying in directly from the developer was buying in at $1,809 per square foot. And then when it comes to the sale happening in 2025, the gap becomes 49%. There was a narrowing of gap of close to 30% here. All right. And that also means that the resale property was actually working harder because it raised from $1,039 per square foot to $1,335 in just 3 years. Whereas the new homes still selling only made about probably less than $180 per square foot. So in this instance, if we look at the price appreciation over this window of 3 years, the resale make about 28% overall, whereas the new homes is only 10%. So in 2022, even Tech Homes and Editorial also mentioned that most buyers are getting priced out as an upgrader for new launches in 2022 because of the gap difference in resale and new homes. All right. So in 2022, resale was a much more profitable segment of entry for investors trying to make their money work harder. Okay. So I'm not someone that advocate only new launch can buy. Okay. I'm someone that knows which market makes more sense to go into. And I believe you want someone like that could determine which market is much more valuable so that your property works harder for your investment. Am I correct? So if you agree with what I said, just type A inside the chat so I know that you agree with what I said. Okay. Because most of the agent will just tell you, okay, only can buy new launch. Okay. Don't tell me resale. Resale cannot make money one. People will tell you like that. Okay. Why? Because developers pays handsomely for new launch. That's the truth. All right. So I'm here giving you all the truth, guys. I'm being very, very open here. Okay. I don't cite anything, but I cite the true north. My true north is about what is the truth of making money. All right. Awesome. All you guys agree with me. So that's it. We then move on to the price gap. And this is something very analytical, but I'm gonna slow down and guide you guys through because once you know this, you know which market to enter as an investor. All right. So I want you to pay extra attention here. This is going to help you a lot because it has helped not just myself, but also my investor who works with me make a lot of money in any market condition. All right. So on the left axis, we see different entry by way of new homes, resale, and subsale. These are the price point of entry. And we are using 2016, 2020, 2023, and 2025 to give you some matrix. And these are property within the size of 750 to 1,200 square foot for illustration. So in 2016 third quarter, when we look at new homes and resale, new homes is only 17.7% more expensive than resale. And you know that this is pre-COVID, which also means the fair value is new homes at least will be 30% more expensive than resale. But the fact that it's only 17.7, what it means? It means that new home is totally undervalued and resale could be overpriced. Can you see that? All right. So that's what it means. And then when you look at resale and subsale, resale is more expensive from someone else that bought directly from the developer and held on 3 4 years and then he sell a brand new unit. He's selling cheaper than someone that has used a property already. Is that making sense? No, right? And because of that, resale is totally overpriced and subsale is totally underpriced. How many of you are getting what I'm saying so far? If you are getting, just like get inside the chat so I know that you are getting what I'm saying. Because if this particular fundamental, this portion, we don't get it right, the next few things is going to be difficult. All right. So Jocelyn says get, Krishnan B as well. Awesome. Thank you for your reply. All right. So once you get it right, we're going to move on to the next one. And when we look at new homes and subsale, when new homes and subsale are so big gap apart, subsale is totally undervalued because why buy new and then wait so long for 4 years for you to build? Whereas subsale, don't need to wait, collect key right away, brand new, and it's 30% cheaper, right? So subsale is totally undervalued here. And then we look at the next segment where new and resale was only 34% difference, which means the market is what? Calibrating because the norm is about 30% as you learned just now. And then resale and subsale, there's a difference of 28.8%, which means between new homes or rather subsale, that means someone else that went through 4 years of holding a property, collecting keys, compared to someone that have used a unit, it's also about 28.8%, which is fair. All right. And subsale and new homes are about 4-5%. All right. Which means back then new homes is quite undervalued because 1 year later the subsale will become a resale. Make sense? So if the gap is too close between subsale and new homes is undervalued. Okay. And in this instance, that's how it looks like. And the market calibrates at this point in time. And then we move on post-COVID. We then have a huge price jump between resale and new homes. New homes was 50% higher, which means resale should be the price of entry back then. And then resale and subsale. Subsale is about 22.6%. And then subsale and new homes are 22.9%. So if subsale and new homes are so far apart, again, right? Subsale could be undervalued. And then we have in third quarter, which is the last quarter, new homes and subsale is 47%. And you know that this fair value, given what I explained just now. And also new resale and subsale are about 24.2%. If you compare subsale and new homes about 19%, which means make new homes still undervalued because 1 year later, the subsale will become a resale. So with this instance, what you need to know then, you don't need to, I mean, just like electricity, right? You don't really need to know how it is created, but you just need to know how it helps to supply energy to your lighting, etc., just by a switch of a button. So in this instance, I just want to share with you that if you enter right, because subsale is so undervalued back then, you had to make 97% based on your property investment back then. And if you enter the most expensive, which is the resale, back in 2017, 2016, you would have only made 43%. But if you went in new homes, which is still very valuable back then, you make about 76%. So the right entry of segment based on price gap is what literally helps you determine whether your money is working harder for you or not. These are all within the same timestamp. How many of you are basically getting some form of golden nuggets here? So if that's you, just like GN, golden nuggets. Okay, so I know that this is something that you never knew that is compared this way to determine which property is undervalued. All right. So Andras asks difference between resale and subsale. Subsale is basically properties that was bought purchaser that bought from the developer firsthand and then sell it within first year of TOP. That's what it means. All right. So that's what subsale means. All right. All right. Awesome. So Nelson, Alex, and Andras. Awesome. You guys are getting it. So as I mentioned just now, you don't need to know how electricity works, right? So to determine the fair margin of safety between new homes and resale, the answer is 47% or less within the same district. So once you know this, you know that hey, your property has a certain safety margin for you to enter based on your investment. Because every investor work with me, we always have this statement. We always say, KS, what is the walk away price? All right. We need to know when to walk away. We cannot be emotional when it comes to investment because many people would like to bring you to the hype and they tell you, hey, the last few floor you want or not. You know, that's what agent does. But for me, no. There's a PSF that we strictly got to stick by. If it's above this, we don't go in because our margin of safety would be in the red, which also means you have a harder exit, so to speak. All right. So how many of you felt that this would help you to make better investment decision? If that's you, just like me inside the chat. So I know that this helps you to make very logical investment decision. All right. Just like ME inside the chat. So I know that you feel this way. All right. Chester, Jocelyn B, and Nelson. Anyone else? All right, awesome. Thank you so much for your reply. Okay, and Krishnam as well. Awesome. So once we know this, I know these are heavy topics. Right now, I want to let you see that once we recognize patterns, we can utilize them. So understanding how patterns work in the past. So three bedrooms condo, 750 square foot to 1,000 square foot. I'm sharing what we just learned just now. That based on price gap between new homes and just resale. I'm removing subsale right now. If you look at 2016, the gap was just 16% between these two segments. In 2017, it was 18%. In 2018, it was 25%. And then a set of cooling measures was introduced. The new homes went down. And there was also an oversupply because there was too much en bloc that was then a hype happening. All right. So the government introduced cooling measures. And then in 2019, the draft master plan announced, and I call this the disparity effect. And this disparity effect brought new homes 72% in price gap between resale. And then we see 59%, resale starts to catch up. And then in 2024, it becomes 37%. And that's where new homes becomes much more valuable. And then in 2025, we see 47%. And what happens? We saw the government introduce the draft master plan 2025. So guys, can you recognize a pattern that I'm seeing that you guys have learned so far? What will happen? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? What do you think will happen next? Guys, if you have your answer, just type inside the chat. What will happen next? Okay. If you feel that it's going up, just type up U P. Okay. If you think it's going to stay the same, just type S. So I know that you think it's going to stay the same. Okay. Right. Krishnam says new homes will go up. 100%. You guys are getting it right. Okay. So that's the opportunity that most people can't see because they think price so high can still go up, man. Did you just see the news at 6 p.m.? A site at Newton, okay, this got bidded at $1,820 per square foot per plot ratio. If you've not seen it, don't look at it now, okay, because you are at a masterclass. Stay focused, all right. But I just want to share with you that the future sale price of Newton, based on that land bid of 1,008, it's going to sell at $3,900 per square foot. So if you're not sensing it to future cast what is the future price tag, then that's the real missing out. All right. So that's it. How to win in 2025 using the draft master plan. So that's me. I've done it before. I want to show you how. And that's me and my wife had mentioned back in 2014, 2018, we handpicked the top performing properties in the Changi East region plan that has different exit strategy from phase one, phase two, three, and four. All right. And people exited phase one, make 32. I make more than that. I make close to 45%. And how do I do so? I'm going to share with you how. So what made me choose Coco Palm? So first thing first, when we look at Coco Palms, it was just across from the MRT train station, just 250 meters apart. So one of the things that when I bought in 2014, most of my peers and friends were telling me that KS is sure not because the tenure of the property is double nine leasehold since '08. And you're buying in 2014, which also means 6 years from your double nine leasehold is already gone. So by the time that you collect key, which I did collect in 2018, about 10 years of my 99 years was already gone. So most of my peers were telling me that KS, you shouldn't be buying. But little do they know that there's this thing called the 15-year shelf life count. That means every property has a 15-year lifespan. How many of you want to know how that works? If that's you, just type, the numerical one. So I know that you want to know how that works. If you do want to know, I can skip because I don't want to, bore you as well. All right. Awesome. Okay. So I see you guys, most of you wants to know. All right. So I'm going to explain to you. You see, most people look at property based on their land tenure, which is people compare freehold, double nine. Mine was 89, even worse, right? But what people do not know is that property has a 15 years growth or lifespan, and this 15 years is actually measured based on two extreme market condition based on the property market. And what I mean is that the first is the 98 Asia financial crisis, where market went all-time low. All right. The second extreme, we are talking about 8 sets of cooling measures that the government has actively implement from 2009 all the way to 2013. So 2013 is the last measure before the property market was cooled down. So if you look within 2013 to 1998, this is a 15-year window. So what me and my research team we did was we case property performances from from year 1999 to 2014, 2000 to 2015, and we realized there is a pattern. Again, the power of patterns, learning patterns, right? And we realized that once the property hit the 15-year mark, it tends to stagnate. So this 15-year mark is calculated from the start count year or its TOP year. So if the property has not TOP, and even though the tenure is running, doesn't matter. People buy based on the building, how beautiful it is. Because as a resale buyer that's buying from you, they look at how new the amenities, the facilities, the development, the facade. They are very emotional buyer. All right. So that's where the 15-year shelf life count starts counting from. So even though the double nine was '08, I told them that it doesn't matter. And that's when I went ahead. So with that, the completion is 2018. And what did I see that government investment that made me invest? So first thing I saw the Jewel Airport. The government announced in the National Day rally that $1.7 billion worth of investment they're going to invest into the Changi area. And then next, the architect that was also commissioned to do this project is called Moshe Safdie, one of the star architect in the world, very renowned. In fact, he's the guy that built Marina Bay Sands. Okay, and that's him marveling at its completion during TOP of the Jewel Airport. In fact, for fun fact, even David Beckham was later brought in as well. So Safdie Architect together with Changi Airport Group is the collaboration between this Jewel as well as together with Singapore Airlines as well. Whereas, like I said, David Beckham from nowhere then become the brand ambassador of Marina Bay Sands too. Then next thing in 2013, I saw the first cross island line that was announced in the government's blueprint. And to share, every 10 years, government will come out new MRT lines. So this MRT line, when it first shown, was 2013. It looks very dull. I'm not sure whether they want people to see or not, but the color was really, really sad. But nonetheless, if you look at the legend on the bottom right, dotted pink are basically new rail lines that we want to focus on, and gray are the existing line. So I then superimpose it. Okay, over here we focus and we realize that hey, it's gonna cut through the new line is gonna cut through the existing line, and that's the Pasir Ris train station. So back in 2013, that was about easily 12 years ago, I already knew that Pasir Ris train station is going to become an interchange. All right. And then there is also a shifting of schools and international school from the Orchard Boulevard location. All right. And this is as early as 2013 as well, moving all the way to Pasir Ris. And this overseas family school because they are sitting on Orchard Boulevard train station that is supposed to make way from the Thomson East Coast Line. So in 2013, 2014, there was two MRT line that was announced. One is the Thomson East Coast Line and one is the Cross Island Line. There's not many 10 years for us, right? Okay. So I explain later what is the MRT lines that are happening these few years as well. So that's it. This is the location of Overseas Family School. That's where my cocoa palm is. And that's where the tenancy or the renter also rise because of international school, they are reputable. So this is the white side announcement in the master plan. And we then, when I saw this master plan update in 2014, the white color side, I knew that this is going to be an integrated development. And that was our today's Pasir Ris 8, right? Okay. So not buying the last plot of land is also very important because we buy the last plot, we are breaking records for the wrong reason because land costs get more expensive with time. So we need to know like what are the more plots available. So Pasir Ris 8 is the first one, followed by 3 more residential plot there. All right. In fact, 4 more. So in 2019, All Green Properties tender the Pasir Ris 8 plot, all right, and they didn't bid it exactly cheap. In fact, they were selling around 2,000 PSF. And this is how it looks like based on the announcement of media releases. So when I saw this back then in 19, based on the artist impression, I realized that this is just another cut and paste of the Paya Lebar MRT train station or even Jurong East, right? Now, big open courtyard that is right next to the MRT train station. So then in 2019, the transportation plan of the Pasir Ris train station being an interchange was announced in this day. And I thought something happened to my family, you know why? Because at that very day, 25th of January 2019, I received a lot of missed call. I was playing football and then I saw, hey, what happened, right? And then I realized that those people, even my peers that were telling me that, KS, you sure not? You want to buy this cocoa palm that left 89 years leasehold during TOP? These are also the people they are congratulating me. So guys, is this by luck or do you think that this was by intention because we did the homework? If you think it's luck, just type L. If you think it's because we did homework, you just type H inside the chat. So I know that sometimes people who tends to say don't buy could care for you, to be honest, because these are my peers. They care for me. But the thing is, most of us make one very, very crucial mistake. Okay. And what is this crucial mistake? And I would just want to bring it to your attention. Can I? If that's okay, just like okay inside the chat. So I know that these are awareness that, I think personally, based on people that I work with, has benefited a lot. All right. Okay. Thank you, Krishnan, for your reply. And Nelson too. And Alex and Jocelyn. So you see, we often or more often than not take advices from people who are close to us. All right. Okay. But this itself is actually a very big mistake because we actually want to take advice only from people who has the result close to what we want. So the closeness that we are seeking is not the relationship, but rather the results. Okay. So guys, don't take advice from someone that doesn't have the results that you want. Make sense? If it makes sense, just like MS inside the chat. So I know that it makes sense. Because sometimes when I work with investors or even home buyers, they were telling me, oh, I need to ask my parents first. Oh, I need to ask my spouse first. But actually they are then influenced by them and they are not the one that went through the entire investment of knowledge that you guys are doing here. So I want you to know that sometimes, yes, we need to seek permission. Make sure that you ask for support, not permission. Because permission is like, hey, can or not. Support is, I know this guy can do it. Why not just do it? And can you trust us to make this happen? All right. So be very clear because don't end up by some of the investors that I work with early in my so-called real estate career, where I showed them a proven framework, but because they asked for, permission, not support, they didn't get it and they miss out the market and they ended up really being displaced by the whole market altogether. All right. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. All right. So next, we then look at what are the fourth exit here, and that's the Changi Urban District, which is completion from 2030s onward. And this is something important because real estate investment, we need to know the multiple exit. In this instance, this is the fourth exit. So new aviation and even ferry terminal, possibilities happening within the location, ideal for aviation company. And it could be another Vivo city and it could boost home prices as well. So infrastructure improve, boost home price. That's what urban transformation is all about. So having a right entry and multiple exit is what really help us to know the moment we go in when we are going to make our money. Okay, and I'm going to share with you. Let's run through the timeline over again. This is my top process, and I hope that you have this blueprint. You could also, gain the confidence to invest and sleep well at night. All right. So 2013, I saw the announcement. I saw the MRT as well, and that's where I enter about $980 per square foot. This is my entry. Then we have the overseas family school that opens and also relocated as well. Coco Palms TOP. People who exited here make about 30% because the entry price is $980 PSF. I didn't exit then. I wanted more. So I look at 2019. There was the master plan update of the Eastern Gateway. Pasir Ris White Side got tendered by All Green Property. The launch of Pasir Ris 8 is where I exited. And this is the second exit. So Pasir Ris 8 was selling about 2-1. I sold about 1,450 per square foot. Then we have the Sinica that was launched. The third exit, some people exit here, about 1,005 plus minus. The fourth phase, which is this year, Coco Palm is right now selling about 1,650, and Pasir Ris 8 just attained TOP. So people saw that, oh, I want to stay here. I want to use the shopping mall that is nearby right now. Pasir Ris is no longer so ulu. They have to pay 1,650 for Coco Palms, right? And then the Cross Island Line will be the completion in 2032, and that's the fifth exit. And the Terminal 5 and Changi Urban District that will create another ferry terminal is 2032 onwards, and that's the sixth exit, right? So how many of you are getting the exit strategy concept so far? If that's you, just like me inside the chat, because this is something important. The moment you buy, we must have a blueprint how to get out. You don't have the exit strategy, you're just there sitting, waiting for one fine day. Finally, hold long enough, property will then go up, then sell. And people are going by the hope or pray and hope strategy. Buy, just wait long, wait until the price long. And this is where I call the sunken cost fallacy. Thinking that buy something wrong, the longer you hold, the property will appreciate. No, when it's not making money, cut losses, move on, get something else, help you to what? To bring up your prices again. All right, because some things is wrong means wrong. Don't sit on it, because only thing that we are compensating here is your lifespan of your life. Okay, up to 65 we can't borrow anymore, so be very mindful of that. Okay, so that's it. That's the two more exit available for people who has bought from 2025 today. All right, so Eastern Gateway, etc. And we did it again for Pasir Ris 8. So investors that work with me, we bought in about 1,613. Our Q number was really amazing. Okay. And this is the calculated sale price, knowing how to enter based on developers' land bid as well. So property appreciated 30%, 6.75% annualized growth. Okay. So entry of 1,613, this is one of my investors. We did the exit strategy for them, and we sold about 2,001. And that's a huge growth in a short period of time. So can we repeat the miracle? This is the 2025 master plan, all in yellow. Okay, this is updated from the 2019 master plan, and also how to capitalize on the MRT effect, your sure win playbook. So to share, there are two more MRT lines that just announced in the current draft master plan. Remember, every 10 years government come out two main line, one extended line. Okay, so the new lines are Seletar line and the Tengah line. The extended line is the West Coast extension, and that is the new announcement just in 2025 this year. So do you know 10 years ago, which is 2013, which is what I used for my cocoa pumps, this was how little the master plan looks like. And then capitalizing on the MRT effect, it was the Cross Island Line that was announced in January 2013. That's where I use it for my cocoa pump. There was also the Jurong Regional Line. There's like an extension line in 2013 as well. There is also the Thomson East Coast Line that was announced as early as January 2014. So my question here is, how many more decades do we have to capitalize and investors on such line? So you guys are seeing the opportunity right now in the marketplace. Type O inside the chat. So I know that you could see the opportunity, just based on the URA master plan. I'm talking about the LTA master plan right here, right now. Okay, awesome. Okay, we don't have many 10 years, guys. We got to make it right, and you need a partner to partner you to make this right. Okay, if people are just giving you noises, you're not gonna make your best choice in this market, because there's a lot of FOMO effect. All right, so the effect of the draft master plan update: new homes always do better than resale when the draft master plan is updated. We all know that already. So draft master plan 2013, back then when I bought Coco Palm, I entered around $980 per square foot. In fact, some of my peers who were stopping me were telling me that, KS, why don't you go risk grandeur? 900 PSF can move in right away, also within the Pasir Ris Grove route, right? But I told them that, look, this property first entered at $450 per square foot back in '04. So if the property were to go through, or the market will go through a downturn, my deficit is 100% of the first purchaser, because the first purchaser, $900 per square foot, they can go out to even 600, no problem. 500 also can. But I bought it at 900, I cannot hold the line. Whereas when I bought in Coco Palm, yes, I need to hold 3-4 years. But the truth is, everybody went in at the same margin of safety. Nobody's going to sell 500 lah, correct or not? The worst case scenario, let them sell 980 lah. They don't make money, they lose their BSD, stamp duty, and also they pay commission lah. Okay, right. How many of you thinks that I'm making sense so far again, right? If makes sense again, that's like MS. So you know why sometimes it's not as simple as just dollar comparison because resale could be cheaper than new homes. But I'm talking about margin of safety. Is everyone that enter with you can hold the line or not? If they're gonna hold the line, you're gonna suffer lah. Correct? Awesome. Jocelyn, Krishnan, Nelson, and Alex. Okay. So once we did that, we then look at my comparison against Coco Palm, Dines, and Pallet. In 2014, this was my entry price against the others. Some can move in right away. And this was how it will perform over a 4 to 5 years window. It went up to 1,002. Dines only went up, a few hundred, I think not even a few hundred, tens of dollars. And then over here, Coco Palm makes about 21, Dines make 9%, and the Pallet only makes 16%. All right. So it's very important to know how property prices, or rather the segment of entry, will give you your highest appreciation or your money works harder for you. Okay. So the draft master plan update in the Western Singapore as well. We look at Beauty World area. There's this launch called the Creek back in 2013. It's a freehold properties. Okay. And TOP in 2018. If you look at the property performance of the Creek, right, entry in 2013 all the way until 2018, you see the price actually didn't really move much at all. In fact, the overall growth from 2018 onwards, the average growth was only 4%. All right. But when you look at Daintree, a property that was launched in 2018, all right, based on Draft Master Plan 2019 compared to 2013, 2019 shows in the master plan that the entire medical facilities that was actually at the undeveloped plot at Beauty World was supposed to be a hospital or medical facilities because Mark H means hospital. But in 3rd December 2019, when they announced the master plan, they said that the area they're going to make it into an integrated development with 865 condo units. And because of that, you see Daintree, who did sub-sale in 2022, from 2018 or entry to 2022, property price actually went up by 20%. Same location, one bought before a master plan, rejuvenation plan, one bought during the time when the rejuvenation plan happens, property price went up. So guys, is it location or is it transformation? If you get the answer so far, type in inside the chat because everyone in the past thought is about location, location, location. But if you are saying it so far, it's actually transformation, right? Right? It's T, right? Transformation, right? It's same location. Why one didn't do well, one did well? Because of the master plan, rejuvenation plan. So when I say this, I don't say this from a salesperson standpoint. Oh, because of transformation. No, I don't talk like that. I share with you the facts, the data, the numbers to make you understand that hey, it's deeper than that. All right. So you guys got it right. It's transformation. So draft master plan is a catalyst for new homes, and this is how the property of new launches are in 2019 to 2022 in District 23. So District 23 is your Upper Bukit Timah and Bukit Batok. And these are your District 23 all non-landed private new homes data as well at Dairy Farm 2. You can see the property prices actually went up 90% from 2017 to 2025, a 10% annualized growth. But when you look at the resale performances in District 23 as well, they only went up 62%, which is 6.8%. So it's very important to note that new homes again does better than resale. Your money works harder for you during a draft master plan update. And to give some context of Upper Bukit Timah, it used to be a place that people say, don't buy lah, the price won't go up one. A lot of freehold also won't make money, right? Okay. So the Hume Estate, there were 3 developments. One Chantilly Rise, there was TOP in 1998. The other one Century Mansion, TOP in 1998 as well. And the other one Symphony Heights, a freehold as well, TOP in 1998. As you learned just now, the 15-year shelf life count, when we hit the 15-year mark, 1998 plus 15 is 2013. So you can see 2013, the price starts to stagnate. Same for Chantilly Rise, Century Mansion, and also Symphony Heights. Only until the draft master plan update of 2019, the Beauty World transformation, and also the rail corridor introduction, you then see there's a rebound of these 3 freehold development. If not, the price actually went down. Okay, and for Midwood as well, a double nine leasehold, we see that in 2020, which is the year of launch, property prices actually went up. How much has it went up? It went up by about 21% over a period of 4.5 years. So that's it. We saw it coming. In fact, property in Midwood made up as high as 23.7%, 8% annualized growth year on year. And this is what drive the property up in 2019 master plan. The Beauty World GLS released, the Hillview Rise GLS site called Hill Heaven that was released, and also the Cross Island Line that will be completing at King Albert Park is also announced, and also the Hume MRT next to the fire station, okay, is also completed. So it's not just because, you know, people say can buy, just go in, but it's because of certain milestone that happened. So this chart here, I'm not going to overwhelm you, but all you got to know is we actually use the rejuvenation initiative based on government's initiative to then buy into together with the real corridor, and that's what drive prices upwards. So how to game the system, the perfect time for the right investor. So how many of you are gaining so much value here? If that's you, just type V inside the chat, right? I know I've been talking to myself. Webinars are always like that, but your reply will allow me to know that you guys are still with me, because at the end of the day, I need you to also absorb the information so they can use it for yourself. The more I continue going without checking in with you guys, likely it's gonna go in your left ear and come out your right ear. Okay, I do not want you to waste your time today. I want you to be valuable for you. All right. So Wong, Nelson, Wee, and Krishnan, thank you for your reply and B as well. So this is very important, and this is the last part of today's webinar. And I want to share with you that we talk so much about marketplace, about market opportunity, but right now is how to make the right move for yourself. So in this instance, we need to measure your profile and also the seasons in your life. So what I mean is that this is the three different profile that I have actually pointed out that would benefit the most right now based on today's market sentiment. So what are the three profiles? I have named them, not just ABC, but rather A equals the fast in and out investor. So for this kind of investor, minimally at least can have $1.3 million in terms of investment budget. They are not looking to rent out the property. Their intention is for capital appreciation and also to go in and out of the market, or we call it to flip the property fast. So for this kind of profile, typically they already have a place to stay, either with their parents, or if not, their spouse already own a property. They just here to invest and that's it. Their job is also very hectic, which also means they don't have time. So they want to enjoy lower monthly repayment. Progressive payment is what they're after. So they buy new homes. Don't need to pay all the tax or the maintenance fee, etc. Don't need to rent out. So fast free. Don't need to handle tenants. Okay. And also capital gain centric only. Right. So while I'm explaining this, I want you guys to also see which identity do you think you are? Are you A, B, or C? All right. Because later I'll ask you. The second one is the I want it all investor. They want cash flow, they want high margin, they want capital appreciation, they also want rental income. They will do everything to win. In short, these are very kiasu Singaporean investor. Okay. So what they want their money work very hard for them. So they want to buy resale, also want capital appreciation, also want good rental income. And why they want good rental income? Because they value safety net over zero income, because they're scared that they lose their job, the property cannot pay, and then they have to foreclosure it, and they don't mind managing all the nitty-gritty tenant issue. They are very micromanaging one. Okay. So if you are this kind of investor, I need you to shift your mindset, because in this current season that you learned just now, the gap between new homes and resale, you need to be a capital focused investor. And what it means is, instead of looking at resale with rental income, you look at look at savings through progressive payment, because your bank's interests are dispersed from a savings basis. Instead of value over safety net over zero income, have a 5-quarter piggy bank safety net for your installment on a progressive payment basis. Because in the whole of economic cycle, ever we went through a downturn when we were emerging market. Okay, Singapore as an emerging market, we went through the most is 5 quarters only. So you have 5 quarter, you can tahan, no problem. All right. So don't go and mind tenant issue lah. Our money is time, right? You can spend time with your family. Why do all these things? So invest with a multiple exit strategy. So we have exit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And of course, the family comes first investor. And this is where we talk about profile C. Want to use the property today, once family and children need. Intention is upgrade as soon as possible, time horizon sensitive. So kids and property size is priority, location alignment with primary school needs as well, and childcare needs. Grow with growing family size needs as well, and must be highly resellable. So for this kind of family profile, if you are HDB upgrader or first timer, go for EC. Why? Why executive condo? Because you don't need to pay ABSD. You also don't need to sell your existing, HDB right now. You could actually go for deferred payment scheme while your HDB appreciate. your EC also appreciate at the same time and don't need to pay renter. So no renter, no ABSD. At the same time, HDB continue to grow while your EC also potentially make money for you because it is subsidized. So both, and you also have a smooth transition. So the perfect strategy for you. All right. So with this, we also need to choose your season intentionally. So right now, I'm going to talk about asset progression. The left axis, bottom axis are your different age group, 26 to 36, 36 to 46. All right. So what we are going to do is in your first season, we are trying to make your first pot of gold. So it's either by way of BTO or EC because heavily subsidized by the government. But those who are not in a family nucleus, income ceiling overshot, they'll go for private property. So if you're in a private property route, what are you going to do for EC and private property? If your property is under urban transformation zone, okay, you then can just decouple, right? But if it's not, then you may want to repurpose. Or if it's a too small size, you may want to upgrade. So you then go into progression or accumulation. Progression means you upgrade, accumulation means you add one more. So when do we add one more? When do we progress? Okay, you progress only if your property quantum is about 2.5 million and you only have one bullet. That means both of you can only borrow up to a buy price of 2.5 million at least. Then we keep it as that. Okay. This property will then be a stay and also investment property. It will grow with you as you stay in. So higher return investment is also likely achievable because your 2.5 million is not split into two properties. All right. And you can open to more profile when you sell it. So if your property investment is less than 2.5 million and you want to split it into two property, then don't do it. Why? Because I have people who confuse getting more properties equals higher net worth and they get stuck. And what I mean by that, because if they want a stay and separate their investment, typically they will spend more in their stay property. And then they will have a remaining budget, in this instance about 900,000, okay, for their investment property. And then they will tell me, KS, can buy anywhere lah. I'm not emotional. But the truth is 900K can buy what? Buy a one bedder, a one plus study. So my point is if you're buying a one plus study or one bedder, likely is having a difficulty for you to exit the property. But it will give you very good rental yield. So if you are in your season two, don't go for accumulation of one bedroom, two bedroom, and one bathroom and below. Because if you do that, it gets stuck. So we want to flip because we capital appreciation, capital focus is what we are after. So if you are buying that one, then you get stuck here with lesser buyer profile to buy from you. Instead, you should be doing this. You should increase your budget to at least 1.3 million. And then only integrated development because integrated development are sought after by investors and retirees as well when it comes to an exit, which means renter is also high. Exit for high appreciation is also there for small units. And then you got to increase your budget 2.9 million at least. So we have talked about profile A, profile B, and profile C. My question here is, guys, if you are already knowing which is your profile, can you just type inside the chat so I know that you know your profile? Just type in your answer inside the chat because you first must know which profile you are, then you know how to act accordingly. If you don't even know your profile, you are just following what people are doing and thinking that it's going to serve you, right? So Krishnam say he is profile A. Awesome. Okay, he knows that who he is. And if you do not know, then you may be just following trends, and that's not going to serve you. All right. So he says 48 years old, one bullet, 1.8 million house, still can be profile A, no problem. B. Okay, right. So next, we then talk about that profile. You already recognize it. Next thing is which seasons, right? Which seasons were that, and we also have talked about it so far. You need to know your season, and B just ask a question. 48 how? Still can fall under season two if you're gonna do it right. Just that our exit strategy may not be like two exit. Maybe you do one exit and then we move on. That's what it means. All right. Because if you hold too long, your next entry will also have problem trying to take a loan. That's what it means. Okay. But we know the profile as well. But how about the third one, the right product fit that would fit you? Okay. And I just want to share with you that the truth is, this is the part that most investors get it wrong because they follow hearsay. They are being influenced. So now, guys, I'm just gonna stop share here. Okay, right? I think that you may be thinking about this right now. You say, yeah, KS, I'm not a property expert like you. How would I know which product fit would suit me based on my season and my profile? Am I correct? Okay. So if this statement resonate well with you, then this is where I come in. This is where I can add value to you because all of us only have one bullet, like what B has said just now, one bullet, 48 years old. How, right? Okay. And most of you will also be wondering, yes, you are giving so much value on this masterclass. Why are you doing it for free? Why are you not even upselling any project right now at this 2 hour seminar, right? Okay. And why am I not like earning commissions right now, right here with you guys? So I just want to share with you that, why am I different from the rest? Is that okay for me to share? So if that's okay, just type okay inside the chat so that I know that you want to know like my intention or is behind all these things by doing this masterclass with you today. So if that's okay, just type okay inside the chat. Okay, so we're Jocelyn, Kai, Krishnam as well that reply okay inside the chat. Right, thank you. Okay, and Nelson too. All right. So I want to share with you that I have a very, very different goal. Okay. My goal is about educating and empower consumers and investors with the right fundamentals about investment. You see, many people would want you to think the way they think for certain motive that they have. I do not know what is it. Okay. But I know that real estate investment is not a one-off matter for sure. Okay. In fact, for many of us here, any wrong move could cost us our life savings. And any mistake could even bring us back 5 to 10 years back in time. All right. And how many of you knows what I'm talking about here? If that's you, just type yes inside the chat. So I know that you know what I'm talking about here. Right? It's not cheap right now. Minimum property 2.5 million, as I mentioned just now. All right. Okay. So B says yes. Nelson say yes as well. Okay. And I want you to know that I understand this because I'm also an investor too. Okay. So it's really, really important that we enter real estate market with a long-term approach while having multiple pre-planned exit strategy. And my mission is to optimize your access to grow at the fastest speed possible because it's not just exciting for me, but you also challenge me and help me to expand and grow my personal growth journey as well. So you may be wondering what led me to this mission or this calling. So I want to share with you that in year 2019, I was very successful in my career in the most measurable terms. But I felt lost. I mean, like just always chasing money, all this thing is like a rat race. I felt very unfulfilled and very empty inside. Or just chasing, money month after month, just like all the other agents that being put on pedestal, what top 100 agent and all these things. Now I also don't put it because I felt like it's like, you require external validation to validate your doings and whatever. Okay. And I knew that I was tired and sick and tired of it. So I knew I needed a change. So I need to find out what I was missing. So what did I do? So in 2019, I flew all the way to Florida to meet this guy, as you learned just now, Tony Robbins. Okay. And to attend this course called Date with Destiny. Okay, so if you have a Netflix account, you can watch this thing called I'm Not Your Guru, and he really break down about life lessons in different seasons of life and different purpose, etc. So that seasons and purpose that you learned just now, I learned it from Tony Robbins. I didn't came up with it. I just learned his pattern. I replicate it in the real estate, system. That's all. And my goal was about to find out my purpose and my meaning here. So long story short, I just want to share you that I learned that my calling through that 6 days, 5 nights is about educating and contributing because only when I grow, then I can contribute. If I don't grow, I cannot contribute. I got nothing to contribute, right? And that's what really makes me feel fulfilled. Seeing the life change, the family that grows together with me based on their portfolio as well. And that's my primary focus and promise to the people that I work with ever since. Because you see, I'm just using this space as a vessel to deliver that promise and connect with all of you. Right. So you guys have helped me to also allow me to do this mission as well. And because all of you have invested 2 hours of your time to be here, I know that many of you are seeking more than just knowledge, right? You probably need a service beyond what is available in this marketplace. So would it be okay for me to share what I can offer you, especially for many of you here who would like to work with me on a more intimate level? A one-on-one basis to look through your entire portfolio to help you to achieve results that is able in any market condition. So if that's you, just like me inside the chat. So I could share with you what I can offer you. All right. So if that's okay, just like me inside the chat. All right. We have two Ryan. Anybody else? Nelson as well. All right. Christian too. Awesome. Right. Okay. And Kai as well. Awesome. So I want to share with you that typically this is what I do. I do a wealth strategy coaching session that is valued at $3,000 for a one-on-one session that's about an hour. Okay. So in addition to this coaching session, there are three bonuses that I cover as well. So one is a portfolio financial position review. I need to look at your entire portfolio. We analyze your portfolio, your profile, your seasons, and your financial capacity. All right. Because you see, most people wants to find out about the mechanics of how to do it. But what's so important here in this financial review, we also cover why you want to do this at this stage of your life, right? And this is worth $500. We also have an analysis of barrier to crush your limiting belief, or rather your false belief. That could be a chokehold. Why is stopping you from getting the results that you want? Because we have people that we work with, they say must only buy freehold, but they want a certain result. But freehold doesn't bring them the result and they got stuck. All right. So we want to be very clear about what is stopping you from getting the result. Is it you want the result or you want the vehicle? You see, the vehicle doesn't give you the result. Why do you still want it, right? So it's very important that we are measuring the right yardstick. Okay, and this is worth $1,000 because this is to clear your false belief. And last but not least, a future mapping session where we share with you a 60 minutes market insight trajectory masterclass, not just where the market is heading, but how you can potentially benefit from it. And that is the one that's 1,005. So right now, most of you must be thinking that KS is going to upsell you this $3,000 one-on-one coaching package. Am I correct? Right? I mean, just be honest here, okay? So I just want to be truthful to you. This is not what I'm interested in doing. All right. In fact, what I'm interested in is looking for very serious investors who are committed to invest in themselves first. And the fact that you guys are here investing for yourself for the last 2 hours here, this is an indication to me beyond dollars that you are committed and you want this kind of service that no one else in the marketplace so far can offer. Right? So because of this, how many of you want this thing for free? If that's you, just like free inside the chat box. So I know that you want this thing for free. Okay. And I don't do this often. Right? So if you want free, just type inside the chat free, because if not, I know that you want to pay for it lah. Then I'm okay to charge you as well. All right, because Liana will be looking into the chat to see who types free. If you don't, then of course, if you later on wants to work with me, that's where we are not we did not see your chat reply or free, then we have to invoice you. I just want to be very open here. All right, for those who did not went through any of our webinars before and they try to book a call with us, typically we'll charge you $3,000 for that. All right. Okay, great. We see we and Ping Xiang, Turai as well, Audrey, EL, Mahal, and also Krishna. I'm saying your name so that my team is able to, take note of it. All right. Nelson, okay. Celia as well. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, that's it. Yeah. Okay, great. So you have commented free inside the chat already, and we have taken note of your name. So with that, because you have invested your time, you have also replied that you want this, we will waive this for you. All right, to help you to achieve the results that I just shared during the framework. All right. And I just want to share with you that, however, just scan on this QR code here and you are able to apply that with me. But I just want to share with you, however, that it's a limit to how many people I can take in. This is typically only for 15 slots because this is a 60 minutes one-on-one call where I'm diving with you on a one-on-one basis. In fact, this could be that very session that you're in right now, 1 hour here that we're spending with each other. All right. And this is where I can speak one to many by investing that time with you. So it's very time intensive, but I want to do it intentionally with you. All right. And more often than not, I just want to give you some context on my schedule. Typically, it looks like that. It's crazy back to back. Sometimes I don't even have time to go to the toilet. And if you think that I'm talking funnily today because I have ulcer on my tongue because talking too many people already, right? And that's how crazy it is. All right. So just like all of you, I only have 24 hours a day, and two very naughty boys, Jude and Josh, 5 and 7 years old. They are no longer this small as you saw just now in the picture. They grow up so big already. Imagine this was like what 3 4 years ago when we took this picture. They were so cute, and right now they are big boys. So I really need to be very selective, juggling between them, and of course still delivering results with each and every one of you. So trust me, this is a bonus you definitely do not want to miss, because it's a rare opportunity where you get a sense of your existing portfolio first before you even determine your next move in just under 60 minutes. And not many people can deliver that because not many people have the skill sets and experience too. So this could potentially save you making mistakes, costing you quarter of a million in losses or even 5 to 10 years of lost time. In fact, for some of the investors that work with me, they tell me, KS, luckily you told me. If not, I would have sold this property because it's under urban transformation. I should have just decouple what. Wow, luckily I met you because my agent friend was selling for me. And without knowing, I don't even know why we sell for because we have the funds to buy the next property. And little do they know that actually, the agent friend was actually wanting to make their 2% commission. That's why they were told to sell their place and buy two properties. They could have just decouple and buy one more. Why sell and then buy two so that what the agent can make three transactions, right? Okay. So I want to be very clear with you that we know why we are doing once we get onto this call. Okay. So go ahead, scan the QR code, and then that's where we have that one-on-one wealth strategy call with me. So while some of you are scanning the QR code, I'll take the next couple of minutes to answer some of your burning questions that you may have stated in the questions. All right. So Ping also says free as well. So Liana, do take note of that. All right. So I'm going to look into the Q&A box right now. See anyone has answered anything or asked any questions. Okay. So B says, hi, budget of 1.8 million can get what kind of property nowadays for capital appreciation? Yes, there is. There's integrated development. And there's also two-bedder development as well that could, but we need to get into the right zones to ensure that we can get you the exit as well because you are already 40 years, as you mentioned just now. So we have to make sure that your exit timeline is no longer than 5 years, even though there's multiple exit. Not for you, for the next few buyers is buying from you to see their appreciation. Just like when I sold in 2021 at 1,450. The next buyer who bought right now seeing their property at 1,650, right? So we need to be able to interpret this to the next purchaser. That's what it means. So Alex says, what is MOR price not moving? What's MOR? Okay, maybe you need to break it down for me, all right? So next, Krishnam here is, can you go back to the new transformation plans location where you mentioned that West Coast, do you mean appreciation expected over West Coast? West Coast has an extension line, all right, but the extension line is not so soon. It's until the mid 2030s onwards, and that's where we will then see the property appreciating. Krishnam, that's what it means. Okay, so Turai then says that us downtown east cluster probably can exit 1 3 max. Max property value 2 million only can get stretching max loan at 44. Yeah, you could. Okay, but I need to know why are you doing what you're doing so we can help you. Okay, Alex says MOL Marina One residences. Yeah, because of the 15-year shelf life count, guys. Marina One residences, right? The sale at Marina, same thing. 15-year was up already as early as 20, I think was like what, 2017, 2018, if I'm not wrong. And that's where property price, no, sorry, 2020, thereabouts. Okay. And that's where the property price starts to go down. So I actually have a case study on the sale on why property price for the developments always goes down because it has hit the 15-year shelf life count. And of course, the 2023 government cooling measures that has introduced where foreigners are unable or rather have to pay a hefty tax into the location. Okay. So Krishnam has one more questions. And wait, I answered Turai first because Turai talk about Siesta. Siesta, right? Siesta is all the way in the corner, not exactly near the MRT train station, etc. So yes, it's not going to grow because unless you hold out for the entire Tampines West Township or Tampines East Township that's coming out, there's 10,000 homes. It's not going to be soon, at least 8 years from today. Then likely you're going to see something, Turai. Okay, so Jennifer asks, when will Newton Patterson transformation materialize? In fact, it's already happening right now. We just saw today's land bidding happen at Newton, $1,820 per square foot, as I mentioned. Sale price 3,009. So those who have bought Zion Grand at 3,000, 3,050, or even River Green and Promenade Peak, they are already sitting on huge profit right now. Okay. So Jennifer, you wanna, look out for River Modern as well. That's something that we'll discuss if you sign up for the one-on-one call. Right? So Krishna, one last question. There is heavy land bidding in CCR. So expected CCR is right to invest. Yes, there's an opportunity cost here between what the land bidded before the master plan update and the land bidded after the master plan update. So there's still a golden opportunity there. Yes. All right. So Audrey says, when is seaside residences one better exit phase? Actually, to be honest, Audrey, in outside central region, you want to buy big, you don't want to buy small, unless you're buying integrated. So that's it. The exit has already up actually. In fact, if you want to wait until Bayshore, it's not going to give you much appreciation because yours is a quantum of a 1 beta. Your upside is not going to make significant difference. So I'd rather you upsize and you get a better appreciation based on quantum of investment because your return is based on the size of your investment. Hope that answers. Okay. So Jennifer asked about a well Hill too. A well and Revere will take time because they buy in at market overpriced period. Okay, in fact, today new launches are very close to their so-called transacted resale price today. So it takes time. Okay, so if you ask me, likely about 2 years or so. Okay. So yeah, so I hope that answers all your question. And for some of you here who have basically wondering how is it like working with me, I want you to hear from this investor called Cedric after he signed up for the one-on-one call and did the entire one-on-one call with me and also the investment blueprint with me. This is how his investment and thinking process looks like. So let me share his journey with you.
Because of KS's thought process, the search criteria then became a lot more broader, and you're just looking at the economics of the purchase as opposed to the emotional part of whether I like the place or you're familiar with the surroundings and whatever you hear and understand of the situation. So that was useful. When I signed up, I probably had 2 sessions with KS before we physically met. The first session was, I felt like he was qualifying me, asking all the relevant questions that maybe he was considering whether he should invest more time with me. But while that was very apparent to me, I found those questions useful for me too, because the questions then also led me to some self-reflection as to whether I was ready. So that actually prepared me for the second session, where I was then qualifying him because he then put some options on the table, and I was qualifying him on whether he was able to understand my needs, my requirements, and my conditions, and that resonated really well. So that's why I think after the second session, we were very quick visiting showrooms already. The one thing that really differentiated my impression of KS versus all the others was data. Because the impression that you probably get from the other agents is more the pressure, as in you're going to miss out if you don't make a decision. KS, while you did feel a little bit of that from KS, but it wasn't directly, it was very data driven. So it was like, these things happens, this will lead to that. If you have these aligned, then you're okay. If it's not, then you might want to reconsider. So I felt that it was more logical than, as I mentioned earlier, right? Emotional, which is the approach of most others, right? It's more like jump on the bandwagon and before you lose out. But for KS, you didn't feel that way. It's the logical thinking process, and it's about data-driven decision as opposed to something as emotional. I thought that was very valuable for me as an individual, because emotions can get, when buying property, there's a lot of emotions involved, right? When you see something, you like it, and you start to get emotionally involved in the decision. But for me, I think the whole buying experience with KS, of course, there's still emotions, but it's a lot less. It was a lot more logical.
All right. So how many of you can resonate with Cedric? Okay. If you do, just type Ara inside the chat. Okay. So Mihao says it's can't register. It says error 404. So can you click on the link? I think it will help. Okay. Right. Liana just put it inside the chat for Mihao inside the chat. Okay. Nelson resonate with Cedric. This is Cedric, by the way. Okay. So Krishnam also says there's an error 404. So Liana, could you just click in and then to make sure that the link works? Then at least we wanna ensure that people who are registering or at least here today are able to register. Okay, Liana, please fix that by the way. All right. Okay, so Nelson says he resonates. How about the rest? Okay, because for Cedric, at first he was like, okay, this location I'm not familiar with because he stays in the eastern Singapore, like really the eastern. But because of the fact that we introduced him this development called Penrose and said that wow, this location is something new to him. He doesn't even go there, right? But I say it's not about going there, but can you see the reason why if you invest you'll make money? And because of that, he bought in and he made wow beyond 500,000 in profit in a short period of time. I mean, if you guys heard about Penrose, it was used multiple times by many agents as a so-called case study. But how many actually walk through that investment and make money and cash out, right? Cedric is one of them. So I just want you to know that hey, this is possible only if you are doing investment logically, not based on familiarity, because familiarity is how consumer look at investment. As an investor, we look at the entry, the future plan, and the exit strategy. Okay, right, Krishnam and also Mahal, are you able to, go into the application so far? If you can't, just let me know so that we can resolve it for you. How about the rest who were actually trying to apply? Were you all able to assess that too? Okay. So Liana, if can't, can you give them the WhatsApp version? Okay. So Liana, I'm gonna text you now. So please send it over to them inside the chat box. Okay. Right. So Liana, please send this link in. I've just WhatsApp you so that they could use it to apply. All right. Okay. Great. So for another client of mine, not just an investor, but what if you are a homeowner and then you feel that, hey, this is a journey that you want to go through, but how would that look like for you? Okay, so this is how it
Because
looks like.
of
This is Rai and Patrina. They bought a HDB that was really, really old. And at the point of their exit, their so-called realtor friend was actually getting them to buy a HDB that is executive mansionette, thinking that is an upgrade. And luckily, they did not do that because the first HDB they bought from their army friend already lost money. And Patrina was saying that, right, why don't we just seek out a second opinion so that we could then get better results from the last or current result that we have. So with that, that's how we were able to work together. Okay. So this is Roy and Patrina here from them on their journey.
The masterclass was a very a wholesome experience for me. As we know, data is very fixed, but it applies to each individual differently. We are looking at how not to lose money because I think our property is pretty old. I just wanted a more insight. What captured my attention at that point of time was available data, which is difficult for laymen to come by, and not just borrowed knowledge. So I think those kind of information are hard to come by.
At the same time, provide us with a solution that could meet our criteria. So I think that adds on to the part that Roy was saying is about him being genuine. This is him being relational. So I think that is what made us continue the relationship. We need more space. We need it to be within our budget. Not just the down payment side of budget, but also the monthly sustainability side of budget. So that was our main search criteria. We always thought that, okay, maybe when we move, it's going to be different types of HDB rather than looking at private. Yeah, so you actually open up our perspective to a much larger housing type.
It's a 180 degrees change in how we should frame our thought. We were really blind in terms of where we want to go, and we were worried like, we were not going to get the chance to actually, get somebody to really help us.
I actually went in with a little bit of thinking that maybe KS, after knowing our budget, he may just dismiss us and say, okay, I don't think you are my kind of client.
Yeah.
But he...
That we wouldn't qualify because of our certain income level or affordability at that time, and what we are looking at might not be in his cup of tea. But yeah, that's like I said, pleasantly surprised that KS don't look at all this stuff, but looking at whether how he can actually help you. He's not dismissive. The first reaction from KS wasn't like, oh no, you shouldn't do that, It's like, oh, why do you think that you want to get a mansionette?
Main difference was when we describe what we want to achieve, not just by buying a property, but in our life. We can tell that KS listens, and he made us feel that the solutions that he provides for us are really because he understands.
KS did for us is to give us that confidence that he's the right person to seek advice from. We got it for 1.245 million, and as of today, I'm glad to say that I think it's 1.4 million, and that is less than a year.
Right. Can you hear from Ryan Patrina journey? It wasn't easy, but they have to find out how to do it based on their personal, outreach. And one of the outreach he did was investing in time to attend webinar, and that's what he did. And I'm glad he did that because from the mistake to the profit that he made today, I would say he exited his investment when he worked with me back in about 3, 4 years ago. So we exited about 1 year back, and he made about 500,000 from losing 200 over thousand. Right now, he makes 500,000. So that's why I said there's this thing called the sunken cost fallacy. Most of us think that by holding longer, we would see through that investment. But no, I mean, you don't hope and pray, right? If the property is not gonna make it's not gonna make money, it's hard to see why people will then buy from you and then see that it could make money. Okay? So don't sit through something is not good that doesn't, seems to have a upside given what you have learned today. Okay? Then beyond that, if you want more insights and strategy and also value, you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel here. You can just scan this QR code. You should be able to link directly to my channel and then you just click subscribe. All right. Okay. So that's it. I'll leave this screen on for those who have yet to, book. But I think those who have actually applied, and then when it goes to the scheduling page, I think that's the page that was having that 404 error. Not to worry, we already have your data as long as you have clicked apply. So just go through it that first, and then Liana will reach out to you to schedule that one-on-one call, that best match, or we'll send you a link for you to book. Okay. So that's it. Thank you everyone for being here today. I just want to show my face to all of you here so that you know that I'm here being very sincere with all of you. And I know that you invested your time, and I hope that you got a lot of value from today's time invested, because I believe that this thing called the law of cause and effect. What we put out is what we attract. We must be willing to invest first, then good things will come to us, right? Okay. So work has to be done first. And that's what I'm doing here with all of you to make sure that you guys get the right value. So in turn, when we work together, we grow together. All right. So that's all from me. I'm going to continue to put a QR code on for those who still want to apply for the one-on-one call. For those who have not yet to so-called book the call, right? But those who have already, I look forward to having that one-on-one call with you. Okay. Goodbye for now. I hand over to you, Liana.
Hello again, everyone. We'd like to sincerely thank you for spending your Tuesday evening with us. So, hope you're sleeping tonight inspired by Kaya's session. So, don't just let what you've learned today sit in your notes. Apply it, take action, and that's where the real transformation begins. So, we do apologize also for the inconvenience regarding the booking the call. And if you haven't registered for the call yet, we will continue to have the QR code on screen for you. So, alternatively, you can also click the link in the chat box to register. With that, we wish you all a pleasant evening. Take care and goodbye.
Recording.